Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So today we will start our new topic, new lecture, new chapter, lecture 14. So chapter 3. So chapter 3 is about the discrete random variables. So we will define this first of all this topic. So variables, as we know, that anything that that's value is changing all the time, that is a variable. Now what is random variable? That is important, that we might have not heard before. Random variable. So random variable, so far we have seen that whenever we find the probability of a certain event, so we assign it a certain value, just like for the probability of A, we know that it will always be between 0 and 1. So now what we will do about this random variables is that we can say that when we observe models, when we observe models that assign numbers to the outcomes, in a sample space, we normally name them a random variable. We name them the observation. We call that observation as a random variable. Now that would be approximately the same thing, but we have now introduced this random variable. So instead of just writing the numbers for every outcome in the event, so we will assign them with a letter, and normally we use capital letters. Capital letters are used for random variables, like X or something. So these capital letters are used for describing these random variables. Now there is one more thing before we define it completely, that is known as the range. That is known as the range of random variable. So I will write RV for short for the random variable. So what is the range? The range is a set of all possible values of X. So that is called the range of a random variable. Say random variable is X, and it is denoted as S with the subscript of the name random variable, because it's not a kind of a sample space, not exactly sample space, but kind of a analogous to sample space. So that's why we can use we use this notation for all the possible values of X. So that is obviously analogous to the sample space. So a probability model probability model always begins with an experiment each random variable is related directly to the experiment. So this shows that how we will find out the random variable as an observation. So obviously there are different ways to find out. Basically there are three types of relationships, three types of relation. What are those? So we will just name them first. So the random variable is the observation. So we call it as this, the random variable is the direct observation. Second is the random variable is a function of observation. Is a function of observation. And the third one is the random variable is a function of another random variable. So how we will deal with them? Let's see one by one by examples. So we will look for the example for the first. The random variable is the observation. So I will paste it from the book. So in this example we can see that it's example 3.1. The experiment is to attach a photo detector to an optical fiber. So we know what is optical fiber. So we attach a photo detector to it and count the number of photons arriving in 1 microsecond. So we are counting number of photons in 1 microsecond time interval. Each observation is a random variable. So the range of x is s of x, means 0 microsecond, 1 microsecond, 2 microseconds. So in each interval we are measuring directly, we are observing how many photons are reaching to the detector. So in this case sx that we have defined, that's the range of this random variable, and the sample space are identical. So in this case, because we have direct observation of the outcomes, so we can see that the range and the sample space are identical. Now I hope you have understood this example. This is straightforward, that we assign the name random variable to direct observations. So random variable is the directly observation. Now we will move to the second one. The random variable is a function of observation. So I will paste this example from the book. So it is the random variable is a function of the observation. So we don't have the observation which is directly the random variable is a function of observation. So how it would be? Just it's clearly very simple. The experiment is to test 6 integrated circuits, and after each test observe whether the circuit is accepted A or rejected R. Now each observation is a sequence of 6 letters where each letter is either A or R. So we know that it would be a just like A, all accepted 6 ones, then A, and so on. We can find all of these. That would be our sample space. But here our observation, what is observation is sequence of 6 letters where each letter is either A or accepted or rejected. For example, S8, the 8th number that would be in the sample space is 2, 1. First is accepted, second is accepted, then rejected, then accepted, and all of them are accepted, again 3 of them. So the sample space has consist of 64 possible sequences. So in this case our sample space have all these. You can generate all these on your paper. So random variables related to this experiment is n. So we name this random variable as n, and the number of accepted circuits. So n shows a random variable. N is random variable that shows the number of accepted circuits. So for example, S8. So in this S8, n is 5. For S8, we know that n is 5, means 5 are accepted and one of them is rejected here. So the range of n is, so this is our random variable, and range of this random variable will be either no one is accepted, 1 is accepted, 2 is accepted, 3 is accepted, 4 accepted, 5 accepted, और all of them are accepted. So यहाँ पर हम ये देख सकते हैं कि हमारे पास जो अब रैंडम वेरिएबल है वो डायरेक्ट ऑब्जर्वेशन नहीं है, लेकिन एक फंक्शन है ऑब्जर्वेशन का। और वो फंक्शन क्या है यहाँ पे कि हम सिर्फ ये देख रहे हैं कि हमारे पास जो एक्सेप्टेड नंबर ऑफ जो आईसीज़ हैं वो कितने हैं। तो इस वजह से हमारे पास जो सैम्पल स्पेस है वो तो ये आएगी सैम्पल स्पेस, लेकिन जो हमारे पास रेंज आएगी वो ये आएगी। सो हम यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं कि हमारी इस सूरत हाल में रेंज और जो सैम्पल स्पेस है वो डिफरेंट है। सो अवर सैम्पल स्पेस एंड range for this experiment would be different because our observation is to see in any of the possible outcomes what is the number of accepted circuits. So this is for say S8, so this will be say S1, so in this case it would be 6, n is equal to 6, or in this case S2, n is equal to 5 and 1 is rejected. So similarly it will move on to the, we can count for everyone. So this will be our range of this random variable. Now to look for the third possibility in which the random variable is a function of another random variable. So for that again we will look at this example from the book. So in this example it says that the net revenue are obtained for, so the net revenue are obtained for a batch of 6 integrated circuits is $5 for each circuit accepted. So it means that we have if we are selling IC, so the company is selling IC for $5. So if it is accepted, obviously, minus $7 for each circuit rejected because of their policies. This is because for each bad circuit that goes out of the factory, it will cost the company $7 to deal with the customer's complaint and supply a good replacement circuit. Because for each good circuit they are selling it for $5. But if the circuit is rejected and the seller is putting a complaint that the circuit is bad, so company has to fulfill its customer's complaint and they ship another IC. So for that the cost they bear is $7. So that goes in the loss to the company. So where n circuits are accepted, if batch of six circuits. If n circuits are accepted, so obviously 6 minus n circuits will be are rejected, could be possibility, means those how much, if the n is 5, so 1 will be rejected, n is 3, so 6 minus n, so it will be 3 will be rejected. If 1 is accepted, so 6 minus 1, 5 will be rejected. So for that we have the revenue, we define a random variable r as the revenue that we are looking for, and related to a function n, which is the number of accepted circuits. So how we can find out this function is quite easy. So this is the $5 cost of that good IC, means or accepted IC, times the number of accepted IC, minus $7 is the cost of rejected IC, and 6 minus n is the number of rejected ICs. So obviously this we can easily find out. This, I hope so, this is not a difficult function to understand. So this is just showing the price times the number of. So similarly, if we put some number here, so it would be easy. So if we have 3 accepted or 4 accepted, so 5 fours are $20, so it will get $20, and 7 twos are 14, so they will, revenue will be just simply $6. So that can be reduced here like 12 and minus $42. So if we have say here again, so 4 accepted, so 12 fours are 48, minus 42 is $6, or our revenue. So range for the range for this is for n is, obviously we know that from previous example, is 0 to 6, or 0 is accepted, 1 is accepted, 2 are accepted, or 4, 5, 6 are accepted. So the range of r would be just very simple, just put all these values here for n is equal to 0. So this is for n is equal to 0. If n is equal to 0, we have minus 42, so company will be having a loss of $42. So if n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, n is equal to 5, n is equal to 6. So if all are good, then the company will earn $30. If one is bad, so they will earn, their revenue will be $18. If 4, so that is a critical point, we can see here that if less than 4 are accepted, so company will be in the loss. So this is for the S8, so that's what they have find out the value here for n is equal to 5. So this is here, n is equal to 5, $18. So obviously don't worry about these functions here, we will not be very much indulging to finding these functions. So एक दफ़ा फिर इसको देख लें, दैट्स वेरी सिंपल. मैं थोड़ा सा उर्दू में इसको एक्सप्लेन कर दूं कि हमारे पास एक जो कंपनी है जो आईसी बना रही है, तो वो जो एक्सेप्टेड आईसी है वो $5 का दे रही है, और उसकी जगह अगर कोई ख़राब आईसी निकल आता है, तो कंपनी जो कस्टमर को है, जब उसकी कंप्लेंट को फुलफ़िल करती है, तो उसको उसकी कॉस्ट $7 पड़ती है, जो उसको एक किस्म का बर्डन पड़ जाता है, एक्स्ट्रा जो उसके ऊपर कॉस्ट पड़ती है. तो अब हमारे पास जो एक रैंडम वेरिएबल है आर, रेवेन्यू हमने देखना है कि कंपनी कितना कमा रही है एक बैच ऑफ 6 आईसीज में से. तो हम कह सकते हैं कि अगर n एक्सेप्टेड सर्किट हैं तो 6 माइनस n सर्किट उसमें से रिजेक्ट होंगे, मतलब अगर 2 एक्सेप्टेड हैं तो 4 रिजेक्ट हो जाएंगे, 3 एक्सेप्टेड हैं तो 3 रिजेक्ट हो जाएंगे, 5 एक्सेप्टेड हैं तो 1 रिजेक्ट हो जाएगा. अगर 6 के 6 एक्सेप्टेड हैं तो ऑब्वियसली रिजेक्ट कोई नहीं होगा. तो हमारे पास इस तरीके से हमने ये फंक्शन बना लिया. ये हमारे पास प्राइस है $5 की, ये हमारे पास प्राइस आ गई, और इसको हमने नंबर ऑफ़ एक्सेप्टेड आईसीज के साथ मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया, माइनस ये हमारे पास प्राइस आ गई जो हमारे पास बैड आईसी के ऊपर हमारी जो कॉस्ट लग रही है, और 6 माइनस n जो हमारे पास रिजेक्टेड आईसीज का नंबर आ जाएगा. तो इसको यहाँ पे हमने कर लिया. तो अब इसमें जो हमारे पास n की रेंज है वो हमने देखा है पिछले एग्जांपल में 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 के 0 एक्सेप्टेड है, 1 एक्सेप्टेड है, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. और इसी तरीके से रेंज अब r की कैसे निकालेंगे कि इसके नंबर्स को, क्योंकि यह फंक्शन है, एक फंक्शन है जो रेवेन्यू है, फंक्शन है नंबर ऑफ़ एक्सेप्टेड आईसीज का. सो तो ये क्योंकि फंक्शन है हमारे पास n का, तो हम क्या देख सकते हैं कि हम जब फंक्शन है तो लाजमी बात है उसमें वैल्यूज़ डालेंगे. तो ये जो रेंज है इसकी 0, पहले इसमें 0 पुट करेंगे, फिर इसमें 1 पुट करेंगे, फिर 2 यहाँ पे n की जगह पुट करेंगे, एंड सो ऑन अप टू 6. तो हम उनकी वैल्यूज़ को जब पुट करते हैं तो हमारे पास ये रेंज ऑफ r आ जाती है, रेवेन्यू की रेंज आ जाती है. So I hope you have understood these examples clearly. So let's move a bit further. Now we can define random variable formally. So random variable a random variable consists of an experiment with a probability measure p dot defined on a sample space and a function that assigns a real number to each outcome in the sample space of the So let's see once again what is it. Random variable consists of an experiment with the probability measure p dot. So random variable with which is associated with the experiment that will have also a probability measure p dot defined on a sample space and a function, and that function that assigns a real number to each outcome in the sample space of the experiment. So we just like we have seen the range of the random variable, so that's the number that we assign to a random to that random variable. So sometimes it is important to identify random variable. Sometimes it is important to identify random variable x by the function x of s that maps the sample outcome s to the corresponding value of the random variable x. So sometimes we write it as x is equal to small x, all that values means that which is equal to that s, all values of the sample points that belongs to the sample space, given that for the function x of s is equal to that small number x. So we will see how we can explain this in the example, so that will be more clear. So before that we must know the next point we will define as that to discrete random variable. But to understand discrete random variable, first we just look at some examples of the random variables. Some examples of random variables. So one, it says the a, some random variable a, the number of students sleeping in the class. And b could be the number of texts or text messages you receive in the next hour. So that could be a random variable. We define another random variable, the number of minutes you wait until the next text arrives. If we look them closely, so here we will introduce the new terminology, discreteness. So we can see that these two random variables are discrete. So we can count the number of students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many are sleeping in the class, and obviously we can count the number of text, 1 text, 2 text or 3 text in the next hour we can receive. And the third one is so these are discrete random variables, and this is a continuous random variable because here we are waiting for the next, we are looking at the time, so how much time it will take the next text will come. So for this chapter, obviously as the name suggests, we will be simply working on the continuous random discrete random variables, and continuous random variables will be discussed later on. So we define formally discrete random variable as discrete random variable. So discrete random variable we can define is as x is a discrete random variable if the range of x is a countable set. So for example, say x1, x2, x3 and so on. So another thing you must remember that for discrete, for any two numbers there must not be any other, means in between x1 and x2 there should be nothing, between. So similarly between x2 and x3 there should be nothing for the discreteness, and similarly between x3 and x4 there should be nothing, there should not be another point between them. So there should not be any point between x1 and x2, x2 and x3 and so on. So यहाँ पे हमारे पास जो डिस्क्रीट रैंडम वेरिएबल है उसको याद रखिए कि हमारे पास उसमें जस्ट लाइक x1 और x2 इसके दरमियान कोई और नंबर एग्जिस्ट नहीं करना चाहिए. अगर उसके दरमियान कोई नंबर एग्जिस्ट करता है तो फिर हम मज़ीद उसके आगे जाएंगे, तो वो फिर डेफिनेशन हमारे पास कंटिन्यूस नंबर की आ जाती है, जो कि हम मुख्तलिफ मैथ्स में या मुख्तलिफ सब्जेक्ट्स में देखते भी हैं. So let's see a very simple example. It says that if we have a class and we define the grades in the class, and grades are defined as for certain course as F, D, C, C plus, B, B plus and A grade. So if we define some function, we use a function to find out the GPA for that of the students. So how we can say means we can write it in this tabular form. So we have the outcomes, and we say G1 is a random is a function that maps this sample space into a random variable. So we have this sample space here as F, D, C, C plus, B, B plus and A. So now this function G1, we define this function G1 that will map this sample space into the random variables. So if we say that if it is a F grade, so the GPA would be 0. If it is D, it would be 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5 and 4. Similarly, this is the same as your university is defining for you the grade points, and for each grade point, for each grade you get some GPA against that grade. So that is the same here. It might be different than your universities. So the sample, so the range of this random variable, say SG1, that would be simply 0, 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. So let's see another example, so that it would be more clear to you then. So I will paste it from the book. So it is quiz 3.1. So it says that a student takes 2 courses. In each course the student will earn either a B or C grade. So to calculate a grade point average GPA, B is worth 3 points and a C is worth 2 points. The student's GPA G2 is the sum of the points earned for each course. So we have 2 courses, remember. So for each course divided by 2, make a table of the sample space. So that's obviously our outcome. First we have to write the sample space. So sample space, in the sample space we will get, because we have only 2 possibilities of grades, so student can get both B, one B and one C, first C and second B, or both C grades. So now we need to find, this is the function that's been described here, that the B has worth 3 points and C is worth 2 points, and GPA, that is the G2 function, G2, that is the function that will map this sample space to a random variable that is obtained by adding these the grade points for each course and divided by 2. So let's make this table. So we have these outcomes in our sample space, that is BB, BC, CB and CC. So for BB, so we have only both of the grades are 3 plus 3 divided by 2 is 3, and this is 3 plus 2, B is 3, C is 2, so B 3 plus 2 is 5, and 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Again here CB is same, 2.5, so CC is both 2 plus 2 divided by 2, so it will be 2. So what would be the range of this SG2, we call it, say? So the range will be simply, so range we will write it in the ascending order, so 2.5. so we will not repeat this because 2.5 is repeated, so we know that 2.5 reflects these 2 outcomes, BC and CB. Remember, 2.5 is reflecting 2 outcomes in the sample space, BC and CB, and the third one will be 3.0 GPA. I hope you have understood these examples. I urge you try to solve these examples and at least some of the examples, some of the exercise questions related to this article. Hope you are fine. See you inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.